Hey guys, welcome to the shop. I got a little something different for you guys today. Something you may enjoy. Something a little, different from normal. What? I got some new tools in the shop. You may want to see them. One of them I think's pretty interesting, so let's go inside and check them out. Alright guys, we've got where we're at as far as on our indexing angle plate here. I still have yet to scribe any index lines on this thing. I've kind of been torn, in between what I should do as far as the indexing of this plate. I don't want to rush into it, and do it in a way that I would be sorry in the future. I've had several good commenters suggest several different ways that I should do it, and I think I've settled on, instead of doing it my original way, which was just scribing some index lines on this internal slug here, and then making a reference mark on that casting. I think I'm going to make an insert that goes in here. It also has a step in it with a larger ring that not only holds the slug in the casting, but gives me a larger ring with more resolution. That way I can put more marks on it and get a more accurately indexable angle plate. That's kind of the plan, and I can't just rush into that. I kind of have to, I'm going to have to make a test piece and do some, test cuts, because I'm no professional, scriber on a shaper. I've never done it before, so I'm just like anybody else. I'm going to have to make a test piece and, see how it works out, see what kind of spacing I can get with the real estate that's available, and go from there. The foot on this thing's still rough. It is fairly accurate, at least as accurate as I can measure it with my, 6-inch number 20 Starrett machinist square. But it's so rough that, it's not going to stay accurate. Using it a few times on, these machine tables and sliding it around, what little contact it has right now will quickly wear down and will affect the accuracy of the, angle. So I believe I'm going to scrape that in, but that'll be in the future. I've got my eye on a granite 10-inch square. They sell them on eBay about $160. It'll, that's $160, but that's cheap. But they're probably pretty good. And if any of you guys have used those Schar's, 6-inch or 10-inch, granite angles, let me know. I'm curious to see your opinion on them if you have ever used one, as far as their accuracy, because that $160 is pretty tempting, for a 10-inch granite 90-degree angle. And when I get something like that, that will allow me to accurately, scrape in this foot. Then I'll have a reference. Right now I don't, so I'm not going to scrape this thing in until I get a good way to measure square. So I still haven't got anything as far as a face for this yet. I need to research some materials and see, what I want to use. I have not done anything with the, with the front yet. I've got some new tools in the shop. I got 3 new tools that I'm really excited about. I love seeing new tools. I love getting new tools, of course, but most of the time I'm the one watching other people get them. But I've got 3 new tools, and these tools are courtesy of 3 of my viewers who had donated to the donations button on my homepage of my channel. And I want to show those guys where the money went, and right here it is. And I'm really happy with 2 of the 3 items. One of them I think is more of a learning experience than anything else. But I'll bring in, I'll show you what I'm talking about there. But got a little sign bar, got some precision angles, and I got a set of gauge blocks. These are just economy grade gauge blocks, but I've checked a few of them with my mics and they're right on the money as far as I can measure them. And if I can't measure a deviation in them, then I'm good with that, with what I have. I'm not doing any work that requires any more accuracy than these gauge blocks have. I don't do any real precision grinding. I don't have a surface grinder yet, but I will. But I'm going to bring you in a little closer. I'm going to show you the angles, the sign bar, and the gauge blocks. Alright, first up is the sign bar. Now this is a pretty nice little sign bar. It is, I'm sure it's shop made. It doesn't have a name on it that I can tell. And we got a 10th indicator here. And I cannot, get any deviation as far as it being parallel. Can you see that? Yeah. With the plate. I mean, that is good as far as I'm concerned. You know, nothing, a little dirt on the plate, but nothing that way or this way. No matter where I check it, you know, it's good. So I'm really happy with it. As far as that's concerned, I don't have a real accurate way that I know of to measure, you know, between the rolls without taking them off and, you know, doing a bunch of jazz with it. As of right now, I'm happy with it. It's got a maker's name on it. I don't know if you can see that. But it looks pretty good. It's a 4-inch. You know, I kind of wanted a 5-inch, but this guy was cheap, and you know, it's good enough. I've never owned a sign bar personally. I've used them, you know, at a couple different shops, but this one is the only one that I've ever owned. So I'm really happy with it. You know, the only thing that I don't like about it is that it doesn't have a shelf on the back, but I think I'll come in and put a little shelf on the back. You know, that way, you know, when you set it up, you know, your angles or whatever won't slide off the back. So there's the sign bar. I'm really happy with that. Then I'll show you the gauge blocks, and you know, they're just all wrapped. Well, yeah, I probably should have unwrapped some, but then, you know, to show you. But you know, the finish on them is really nice. They are, they look really good, and I've measured several of them, you know, with mics, you know, and they're as accurate as I can measure, let's just say that, and I'm good with that. They look really well made. The numbers and stuff on them are really clear. These are made by MHC, so you know, just an 81 piece set, and I'm really happy with that. They ring to the plate and they ring to themselves really well. That is a 2-inch gauge block, 4-inch sign bar, so that should give us a 30-degree angle. Here's the precision, supposedly precision angles. Now these angles are made by Anytime Tools, and I'm going to just take this as a lesson learned. This was a bad mistake to buy these cheap angles, and I knew better. You know, it's just the lure of the, you know, the cheap goodies. Everybody, I think, fell for it one time or another, and the problem is I fell for it more than once. But you know, it is what it is. I'm going to keep them as a lesson learned and go from there. But and look for a good used set of you know, Starrett or, you know, other reputable brands, you know, that are you know, better than these guys. I'm really disappointed, and it's not so much, you know, that I'm disappointed with the angle that they're cut. I don't really think that's the problem. As far as I can measure, you know, and these are extremely hard to measure because this face and the foot, you know, are crooked. This sets on the plate. You can set a square up to it. And this is not the prettiest square, but it is pretty accurate. And you can't see it on camera, I'm sure, but I can get a 10/1000th of an inch feeler gauge in the gap. They just set at an angle, and it wouldn't be so bad if the foot and the top were set at the same angle, because then you could just set it on your angle plate, run an indicator along it, and it wouldn't matter if you ran in and out. Let me set this up and I'll see if I can't show you what I'm talking about. Now this is a 4-inch sign bar and a 2-inch gauge block. So that should give us 30 degrees, as far as Suburban Tool app says anyway. And I zero my indicator and I run along it. And it reads fairly zero. The problem is when you go from side to side across the angle that this is a 1/4 inch wide, and over that 1/4 inch, zero my indicator, I get, well, let's see, these tense indicators will drive you nuts. I'm sure you can't see the indicator. But just across that 1/4 inch gap, I get 1/1000th and a half. So this space here and the foot are out over 1/1000th and a half. That's just unacceptable to me. That's garbage. You know, that's not precision ground in my opinion. You know, the angle may be correct, but you know, anything that you set on this, if you set it in a vise that's got parallel jaws, you're going to be setting on a little sharp edge here, and these are going to lose their accuracy pretty quickly. And they're not going to, you know, your part's not going to be square or vertical. It's going to, anything you set on here is going to be canted. And that's just, you know, and this is not the only one. I've checked several of the angles in this, you know, I think it's a 10-piece set, and a lot of them are like that. Whatever they're grinding these guys on, or, you know, something's way out. So these are pretty much garbage. I'm going to keep them just so when I get a surface grinder that I can attempt to grind them in. And I'm pretty disappointed, let's just say that. These are made by Anytime Tools, so stay away from those guys. You will regret it. You know, I knew better, like I said, but you know, wanted a set, and I got a set. They're just not what I bargained for. But we're gonna on the lookout for a nice set of precision angles. I don't have a set, you know, that I would call good. That's for sure. I didn't have a set to begin with, so there you go. You know, that's my opinion. Sign bar looks good. I love the gauge blocks. The finish on them's really nice. You know, I can't get any deviation with them, but these angles are garbage. And I peeled the label off the box, but they're Anytime Tool. Stay away from them. You know, that's my opinion. You know, you draw your own conclusion, but anything that's out that much. And another way to tell, you know, is if you lay them on their side on the plate, and you take another angle and set them up together. Let's see. Yeah, they rock really bad. Let's see if we can get. Look at that. Can you see that? They're garbage, guys, so stay away from those. I got a little shaper work, you know, for a practice piece I think I'm going to make for the angle. So let's go over to the shaper and get started on that. Alright guys, in the shaper here I got a piece of mild steel, and I'm considering possibly using this as the back plate on that angle plate. I'm just not for sure, but this plate's not, you know, doesn't have two parallel sides, so I need to change that and clean off this side. This is just from an old project that I was messing around with in the past, just testing cutters I think on. The other side's just as it was hot rolled, so I got to descale it. In here I've got one of my favorite just general tools, and that is 1/4 inch radius. That's it, 1/4 inch radius tool. We're probably going to be running about 80 surface feet per minute. Little slow, but that's okay. I'm going to have to, it's got a ledge here, it's not all one surface, so I'm going to have to make a run over it with this tool and then come back with a finishing tool, flip it, and then descale the other side. And then see what I got left and determine whether that's going to be good enough for the angle plate or not. I've also got a slug of aluminum, and this is the perfect size for the back of the angle plate. I'm not for sure that I want to use aluminum, but it is easy to work with, and you know, this is not a surface that I'm going to be bolting anything to anyway. So this may be what I use, to be honest. I just don't know yet. So I've always got this to practice on, if nothing else, This is the right, like I said, the right diameter. So I can take my rotary table, put it on the shaper, and practice on this if nothing else. And then maybe make it out of this piece of mild steel. So first thing we got to do is clean this up. I'm going to bring in a little closer and we can get started. Alright, safety glasses on. We got a little oil on the surface here. And we're going to have to touch off, and then we're going to make 20 thousandths per stroke. You just want to get this all to one level, that way we can come back with a finishing tool. Shrapnel in the camera there. Gotta clean this up too. Alright, now I've went across this and roughed it. this with our 1/4 inch radius round nose tool. Nothing special, but really good because you can cut in either direction with them, and they're pretty stout. They hold up to decrusting pretty well. And then this is a fairly fragile, in my opinion, tool. It's got a lot of rake to it. It's got a real sharp edge, but it doesn't hold up well, you know, decrusting. So this is what I usually go to for finishing. About 0. And we'll take off, just take off 10 and 10 thousandths per stroke. And let her go. Give me a pretty good finish on this side, then we'll flip it and do the other side. Going on this big machine, it's really pretty quiet. A lot quieter than you would think for a 7.5 horsepower motor, 7,000 pound machine. Pretty quiet. It really gives a super nice finish if you use the right tool and run it at about the right speed. Mild steel is tough to get a finish on. I'll bring you back when we're finished and let you see what kind of finish we get on this plate. Well, there's the final finish on this piece of mild steel. Here's the tool that we used. Just nothing special. I think that's I forget what radius it is, but it's fairly small. And just a good sharp edge. Not good for roughing it in any stretch. The edge is a little weak, but it works really good for finishing. This was 10 thousandths of an inch per stroke, and about 80, I think about 80 feet, on the RAM, surface feet per minute. So not bad. You can see my hand reflection in there. Not a perfect finish, but pretty good. I'm happy with that. That's perfectly acceptable. So now we got to flip this plate over and decrust the other side, finish it, and then make sure it's parallel. Alright guys, I flipped this around. All I did was we cleaned it up on the other side, we ran the finishing tool over it, I deburred it, and I flipped it. So we're going to decrust this side and then finish this one. Overall, that looks pretty good. I'm going to change tools, and then we're going to do a finishing pass. Well guys, we got this off the shaper, and let's see how parallel it is. Let's see how well we done. This is 545, 546, yeah, about 546 and a quarter. Check the other side. 45, 46, 47, about 47 and a half. So a little over 1,000th out of parallel that way. 5. Yeah, not bad. About 1,000th and a half or so all the way around. Maybe 2,000th. That's not bad. I can handle that. It's going to be resurfaced anyway. We were just roughing it off, and we didn't try that hard to get it that accurate. We got a slug of aluminum here that's the perfect size. This is going to make a great test piece, so I can take the rotary table and put it on the shaper and scribe some lines and really see what it's going to look like, see what fits this size the best, and see what kind of resolution I can get as far as my marks. That'll be a good idea for next week. hopefully we'll make some good progress. You know, you never know what's going to happen around here. You know, you got to see some new tools, and that's always good. I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit my little guy up here. Click the bell in the upper right hand corner for notifications. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.